and they know somebody that is currently on their way to doing a course in education in the UK, but they've worked for at least up to 4 to 5 years in the sector. And the way she was able to convince the school is the way she packaged her portfolio, her teaching portfolio, the way she packaged her teaching portfolio, her lesson notes, they are very graphical. Her PowerPoint presentation, pictures from her class, for like her portfolio were just very huge. And I think the school looked at it because the person in question studied media and communication in their first degree, but they're on their way for a master's degree now in education in the UK. But the thing helped them was the way they packaged their portfolio very well. It was quite catchy because I was privy to the portfolio and it worked for them. So if your friend could also do the same, because this person in question I'm talking about packaged this thing even with pictures, Google Doc, and sent it to the committee, and they were very impressed with what she's been doing. So I don't know if your friend could do the same. That may help also, because to convince the committee sometimes could be very difficult. That's just my advice for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Silas. In addition to that, I think your friend can also need to explain somewhat in her statement why her plants, I think it's plant study, you said, or plant something, why that degree, yeah, why that degree is not going to be able to help her in her future plans. So she needs to establish what her future goals are very, very clearly, and how this education degree is going to help in achieving those goals. So maybe that's also something to consider or to think about in addition. And there are some schools, I don't know, it's like you've only mentioned the person's applied to one school. There are several schools. Some school, I think someone was saying here, they applied to 5 schools or school or so, and only one.
Five schools.
Yeah.
Centenary University, Manchester Metropolitan University, London Metropolitan University, and then Teesside University.
Okay, and all of them declined her.
Three actually declined her: St. Mary, London Metropolitan, and Manchester Metropolitan University. The only one remaining is just Teesside University.
Okay, well, let's wait for Teesside first. But I think, as Silas said, it might be reviewing the whole application package as well. Victor, you've got your hand, and then Aaron. Thank you very much.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Please, good afternoon from my side. I hope you can hear me. Yeah, so I had a similar issue when I began my graduate admission application process. So I also switched fields from undergrad in philosophy to a master's in international politics and international development. And I remember when I was applying, a number of departments would say, to apply for this course, you need a related undergrad degree. So for the international development course I applied for in London, they said that you should have studied that politics or not psychology, now sociology or international relations, and there was no mention of philosophy. But somebody said the bridge between one discipline to another is often work experience. But I think it's not just work experience, but in-depth work experience. Because I noticed in my first year of application, I didn't get anything. I didn't get admission. But as I grew in I started working as a news reporter and a news writer. And that was like the bridge I used to like, oh, yeah, I'm also in this space already. I follow international news. I write about international news. I know the key players. I know the key issues. So even though I have an undergraduate degree in a different field, I know what's going on in this field. And I think that work experience is very in-depth work experience is very important. And I think if you're looking for a scholarship, it even gets more trickier because now those scholarships are very competitive. And the question there is that why would they give you the scholarship as opposed to someone who is an insider in the first place? So it might be easier if you're self-funded when you want to move to a different field than when you're looking for a scholarship. But then there is this scholarship that is quite, I've seen that is quite open to those who are switching field, especially those with substantial work experience and substantial connections. And that's the Chevening scholarship. I've seen lots of people do different things, totally different from what they did in their undergrad. there is this man, I think he's on this space as well, who studied something like biochemistry and moved into the media space. And he got a scholarship with Chervin because he has also, after his undergrad, he was in the media space for a while and made a name for himself. So when he moved, they already saw this track record of, yeah, you didn't study this course, but you've done something in this field. And so I'll still emphasize that the person should try to dip our feet a little bit further into the sand when it comes to this new area of expertise. Because the question is always there, why would they give it to you as opposed to someone who has actually studied this thing in undergrad? Yeah, that's my contribution. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate that take on things. Aaron?
Yes, just in addition to, grounding her feet in that space of education, another thing that could add color to the CV in that space could be doing some online courses that relate to education or something in that space. There are lots of valid websites that do online courses. So she can do courses that relate to that field of education and add that to her CV and amplify that very strongly. That could also work. Another thing could be she might collaborate with people in the education sector, for instance, or friends who are already within the education sector to, for instance, publish papers, or even if it's one paper, for instance, on her CV in the space of education. That shows again that, all right, yeah, she's got some kind of credibility and research experience within the education sector. So those could also be considered. Thank you.
Could I say something quickly? I also see like an oversight sometimes with people who want to switch. They often neglect the course they did initially. They kind of pretend that it never existed and they just want to move to a new place. But there's a way to also bridge a connection between what you did initially and what you intend to do. For instance, I said, it was while I was studying philosophy, I stumbled on this module called social political philosophy. And I saw that as my new interest because it was more hands-on, more practical. And I was like, if I want to further my studies, I think I prefer to further it in this practical space instead of metaphysics or epistemology. They're a little bit abstract, especially from this African setting. So like I wanted something hands-on. And this undergrad course actually pointed me to this direction. So do not just neglect the agricultural background. Probably there was an experience you had during that your field work or during that study that kind of redirected you towards the new interest. So it is valid to say, yes, I started with this, but then something happened in between and redirected me. I think that's valid. And instead of just pretending it never existed and ignoring your first undergraduate degree. Yeah.
Okay. Yep, absolutely. I mean, for example, I think children like to play with soil and plants and whatnot, and you could just say maybe there was a field trip or there was an assignment or something, and you saw how engaging it was, and you decide to sort of like explore that area through being in the education system. Also, I think no, I would let Dr. Teo first. Oh, yeah,
Hello.
Dr. Teo.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Victor, I think you took some of my words basically out of my mouth, but I think, it is really, really wrong. And I find it very, very suspicious when I see people trying to sort of like hide, their backgrounds, really just, thinking that could, really work out for them. It rather works negatively. Now we are in the space of multidisciplinary research, okay? And in that sense, you need to, some of these perspectives from other disciplines, are really, really essential. So, for example, I am currently supervising someone on a digital health project, okay, as a co-supervisor. This person is coming in as a pharmacist, okay, basically the project is an intersection between digital health kind of like application. So it's more of like computer science in healthcare. Okay, so this person applied. It's a fully funded project. This person has applied, performed really well on an interview, told us what his background was and what he's bringing into the space of computer science. I will not really have any understanding from pharmacy. I'm not a pharmacist, but this person is bringing that perspective onto this big project. And we as supervisors, we are actually going to be learning from this person who is already a practicing pharmacist. So we appreciate something things like that. Had it not been for this student, we would have been consulting a pharmacist from somewhere. Okay, so don't hide your background. It will work to your advantage in the space of multidisciplinary research. Okay, and so it's all about how you really sort of like tell us, give that trajectory, that career trajectory, and you tell us what you are going to be contributing to that project or what you are going to be contributing on that MSc. It could be purely that you are bringing sort of like a diverse kind of like understanding or background to the whole project or even to the course that you are applying to study. So really bring that out and tell that story and nicely package it. I'm not saying you should lie. Speak the truth. Let truth and honesty be reflected in what you are writing, but be mindful that you are telling a story of how that could really work out. Another example is someone who is transitioning from nutrition into public health. Okay, I've got no idea about that, but this person is doing something on public health nutrition, and that's what the whole project is about and how it relates to an African setting. So multidisciplinary research is well looked upon and is highly promoted these days. So really, really don't hide your backgrounds. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so very much, Dr. Teo. I hope the person takes away from all of those contributions. Chocartive.
Yeah, good afternoon, ma. Mine is a question I want to ask. So I just finished my NYSC last year. Then my dad paid someone to apply to university for me. But the thing is, in my CV, I only had 1 year experience as a teacher, and I wanted to major in translation studies in French because I see that as a problem we have in Nigeria because we are surrounded by francophone countries. But and coming on, so because of the experience I had in my CV, I cannot study that course directly because they said I need to have experience as a translator in French, of which I have none. The only experience I have is the fact that I taught for just a year. And then coming on this, so I have to study, do a professional course, get the certificate before I will use it to apply to the university, the same university, to study that course. But coming on this space, I'm beginning to hear people say when you don't do these things yourself, you are going to have problem. And I don't really understand it because I felt that okay, I'm not the one in charge, but when I get there and I read well and I focus, I'll be able to scale through. But I still don't understand why, if someone helps you to like do this thing, it would be hard for you when you are doing your master degree. So I would like for you to expatiate more on that. That's where my confusion is coming from.
Okay, thank you, Talkative. Wow, like I mean, the speakers are literally up and ready to explain all of this. Also, just to say, please, if you're on this space, try and follow all the speakers. You can see how much value they are adding to everyone, to me as well. And so to appreciate them and to also stay abreast of things because they tweet and they post all these information that they are sharing. So try and follow them. Victor went up, and then Aaron next, and then Silas in that order. Thank you.
Okay, I'm happy that this issue has come up again about agents and using middlemen to apply to universities. So a number of universities around the world do have consultants and agents, but these agents are registered and they know their boundaries. So for instance, if the university feels that it's being overburdened by application inquiries, they could outsource that to these agents to answer their questions. But these agents, I don't think it's in their place to actually apply for you. So they play this advisory role, they might charge you a fee or something, and they're usually registered with these universities. But then if they are not registered, there's no monitoring. You do not know where the boundary is, where is admission fraud, and where is actually advisory services in the first place. And secondly, the graduate admissions process is deliberately rigorous. because it's like a filtering system. Those who can endure the process often get rewarded with them admission and scholarships. So if you bypass the entire admissions process and just feel, oh, I can do well when I get there, how do you know? If you don't write your own SOP, for instance, or if you need to write like a research proposal and you don't do that yourself, how are you going to cope when it comes to churning out essays every month in the first place? So the rigorous process is for practice. And then they see those who are up to the task and reward them with admissions or with scholarships. So please do not bypass that process. And if you think you still need an agent, why not go to the university accredited agent to avoid putting yourself in problems? So there's this hot topic on Twitter recently about people charging exorbitant amounts of money in different kinds of currencies. And these persons often do not just do these small reviews we talk about, like help you read through your application documents. They are blatantly saying, just bring the money, we'll help you do everything. Imagine the university finds out that you give somebody money that did everything for you and never needed to lift a finger. That's classic admission fraud. And if you follow the news, just last year or 2 years ago, two American celebrities, they were actresses, and their husbands were thrown into jail because they did exactly the same thing. They paid somebody to doctor documents for their children to get into top schools in the US. And this thing leaked. They sent them to court, they gave them a fine, and they sent them to jail. It's true that in our own climb in Africa, most of these things are glanced over and are not well prosecuted. But I think to just get yourself out of trouble, either use a university accredited agent because they are supervised by the university, or just simply do it yourself. Yeah, that's my take. Thank you.
Valuable take, honestly, Victor. I appreciate that. Aaron, that next.
Yes, not. I mean, it might seem like we are overflogging this issue, but I think it needs to be overflogged because I mean, in the past days, this is what we've been really echoing about using agents, using consultants who, to some extent, charge very exorbitant prices, and write your SOPs, write everything for you. I mean, if that is your situation, please just try to retract from it because it is a very dangerous move to take. I mean, I just recently shared a story about somebody I know who applied, paid people from her country, I won't mention the country, to apply scholarships for her. It was the Commonwealth Scholarship. She got the scholarship, got to the UK. She was using her stipends to pay the people to complete her payments back in Africa. She was, at some point, she got someone for plagiarism within the school because she was paying people within the UK to do her assessment for her. Because, I mean, she couldn't cope. She didn't write her SOP. She didn't write her CV. She had no clue. And like I shared, this is just maybe an hour ago or so. At the end of the day, she graduated with a pass, and she was literally desperately looking for a husband to marry in the UK just because she needed to stay and education did not work. I mean, true story. There's so yeah, it might seem we're overflogging this, but I think we need to overflog it because this is, I mean, the DMs I received about the exorbitant amounts is outrageous, it's sickening, it's so upsetting. So if that is the route you are, please don't pay people to write your essays. If you have to use agent, write your documents, get people to review, and then you can use the accredited agent, like Victor has said, who most times will not even. They won't. It's what you give them that they work with. They can't write your they can't write your CV. They can play just advisory roles. So if that is the route, please retract from it. Like Victor said, that is proper fraud and it will land you in serious trouble. And of course, allow people and those people who exploit, I mean, potential applicants get a market for this and they continue doing this thing. So please, if that is the route, we advise that you keep away very quickly from there. Tons of resources. I mean, Victor, who spoke first, he has a very functional YouTube page that so much resources are. Our pinned tweets, you have so much threads on writing SOPs, writing CVs. I mean, everything graduate school, you will find it on pinned tweets, on our pinned tweets, or YouTube videos that have been posted. So please, if that is a rule, please just keep away from it, especially for yourself in developing yourself and getting ready for grad school. Thank you.
Yep, thank you so much, Aaron. I couldn't have said it any better than that. Silas, you know, add something.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Fuller.
Well, I don't know what to add again rather than to overflow the issue. Talkative, I'll start by saying that your name is not talkative. I will appreciate if you probably change your name to what it is on the space so that at least potential people that may want to help you will actually help you, yeah, because it sounds more professional to know your name. The issue with paying people to do your work, your father may want the best for you, but I'm sorry to say this, that best may come back to hurt you. Yes, because how do you learn how to write? You learn how to write by consistently writing. That is just the truth. You learn how to write by consistently writing. There are a lot of free tools on the internet. Yeah, some of those tools, some of them are paid and some of them are free. So we can't, I think we need to overflow this issue. It is very, very wrong for someone to write your SOP, your CV, and submit it for you for grad school application. It's totally wrong. That's a job because that is not you. You did not write them. You don't know the in and out of the content. The person packaged you and presented another personality to the admission committee. And like Victor asked, how do you know you're going to succeed when you get to grad school? That is just the truth. So the writing process, the documentation process is a learning process that puts you on a very good pedestal when you're in graduate school. So you can do with a lot of free resources scattered all over. 300K, 400K, that you, it's ridiculous, but we just have to say the truth. It is fraud, total fraud, and we need to address it. Please, you can do it yourself. Put words together. If you don't have the money, tell your dad. Your dad could subscribe to some of these writing tools for you. You learn how to use them from now before you go to grad school. Not when you get to grad school, Grammarly, Turnitin, and the like become so alien to you. You can start learning them now on how to use these tools. That is just the truth. So I will advise you just retract if you're on that part, please. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I think okay, talkative, just very briefly, do you wanna add something?
Yeah. So, in addition to what they said, I actually did write my statement of purpose because the only thing the man did was to advise me based on the CV I wrote here in Nigeria. So he said, based on your CV, you can't study this translation studies in French because you don't have a translation experience. So I had to rewrite my, although over there in France, what the man told me to write was motivation letter. So in my motivation letter, I wrote that I want to do this professional course so that I'll be able to major in translation studies in French because that is part of the problem we have in Nigeria when transacting businesses with francophone countries. But I did not really understand where it came from, like if you don't do everything yourself, because the only thing the man is helping me to do is to apply to that university over there. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to add.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Victor.
Yeah, why not visit the university website yourself? It's online, right? You have internet. You can always confirm exactly what they want. But it's a good thing you clarified that you were able to put these documents together. But all this info about the application's requirements, what the university requires, just send them an email and you just save yourself a lot of headache. And French as well, it's a very hot topic now, or a very well started after course as well. Because as you said, you already have a motivation for it. Nigeria is surrounded by lots of francophone countries. I might not actually study French in France. I think there are also lots of courses in Canada. Canada is both English speaking and French speaking. And if you just cast your net a little bit, do your research, you see that there are lots of opportunities out there. You can email departments as well. Just last month, a Ghanaian lady got admission and scholarships at University of Victoria in Canada and University of Manitoba to study French as well. Maybe not translation, but French as well. And her testimony was that she did all these things herself. She went online, checked the departments, checked their funding page, so that they gave also graduate assistantship that will cover her living stipend, and so that they gave her close to, I think, 20,000 or 15,000 to cover her fees as well. So this is something she just did online. And she took tips from on how to write a SOP and CVs from Twitter here. I think the testimony is still on my timeline. So I think the message here is that you can get direct access to this university in the first place. So why use an agent? But I'm glad that this agent is not like spoon feeding you and is just giving advisory services. But you can do this on yourself, I believe so. So just build confidence in yourself, email the departments directly, and yeah, take it from there.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I think Aaron, you have been wonderful, and I appreciate. Do you want to say something before you leave us?
Yes, thank you so much, Fola, for having me. I mean, it's past 1 a.m. here in Australia, and I've been struggling so that, I just stay up, but it's so important. The conversations are so interesting, and I've been learning myself, and that's why I didn't want to depart. Nature calls, but I mean, just final words, please, very important. I will keep overlogging this issue. Please do not pay people to go and do your things for you. It's absolute fraud. Use the resources online and please do it yourself. You will go down a very, very wrong path if you go through that trajectory of paying people to write your SAP letter and recommendation essays. It's very, very dangerous. So yeah, but thank you so much, Rola. Thank you to all the speakers. Thank you to all the listeners who have been listening to us. And yeah, I look forward to connecting with people again in another space. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And before Aaron goes, please do go follow Aaron because he's pro scholarship. And so if you want information that would help you on scholarship, follow Aaron, everybody else on stage, of course. Like I said, we try and provide valuable information. So just to put that there. Michael.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you for the opportunity to speak. So regarding the lady that asked question, well, I will speak from two perspectives. One, I'll try to address two things. First, it's the consultancy part of things, and the other is the application side of things, particularly for the lady that asked the question. So regarding the consultancy thing, somehow, as much as I understand where many of our comments regarding that topic, of course, we understand why it's not encouraged, why it's not something that we think that should be done amongst scholars, so to say. From my angle, it might sound quite funny, but I would still go ahead to share. When it comes to right or wrong, at the fundamental level, right or wrong is judged either by three. You assess that by three levels. One, by the rule of law. Second, by religion, rule set by religion. And thirdly, by conscience. When people set up consultancy business, of course, for whatever reason they might have done it, monetary benefits and all that, people pay for this consultancy business because those running those businesses feel there is a gap to be filled. And they think that they are providing solutions to the many people who are trying to get their service. On the timeline, we have seen people that, no need to mention names. We know they've been there, give free resources, and at some point started charging for their services. For me, I'm someone who is not, who thinks that people shouldn't be like gatekeepers of morality. And as much as these businesses are thriving because people are willing to pay, what is fundamentally wrong at the barest minimum is the fact that anyone that takes it up to write the CV, write the SOP, write whatever, all the document and all the applicant just does is sleep. That for me is where it has extremely crossed the line. Anyone who charges 1 million naira, well, if you have the money, you can go ahead and pay. But like Victor mentioned, are those people accredited by the institution? Number one. If it's an accredited institution, actually accredited if it's an accredited consultancy, you are safe. And actually, accredited consultancy firms do apply for people. I remembered when I applied to Australia, I could not apply because I selected that I'm Nigerian. They told me I can't apply as a Nigerian. I have to go through an agency. And the agency tasked me. I had to write back to the school, to the professor I was talking with and the second supervisor. And they were mad, like, why should they charge me and all of those things? So I copied them. I wrote the consultancy, they apologized, and it was a mix-up. But when it comes to submitting the application, I did not do it myself. All I did was give them the documents they requested, and they put in the application into the system because the application has been pre-approved by the institution already, but not into the system. It was approved by the committee, but it had not entered the admission entry pool or whatever I can call it. So I needed to submit formally. But I did not do it myself. The consultancy company did it themselves, and it was a woman from Nigeria. The consultancy firm is in Nigeria. And they helped with the application stuff, and it was a standard stuff. It was what I was supposed to do. Not like I provided everything. All they did was just put it. I don't know what the assets they have. So some consultancy firms actually do have that power to do that. But when you work with people who don't have the power to do that, understand that your limit when working with consultancy, as far as I'm concerned, that is, your limit will be at most you giving them all the documents and they are putting it in, they are submitting it for you, for whether they are affiliated with the institution or that's what they are charging for. They are submitting it for you. Or you've written your document and you are consulting someone to help you improve or perfect it. At those two levels, personally, I do not think consultancy firms are beyond doing that. Whether you give them all the documents, all they are doing is we write the school, we tell them we have a candidate, and then they collect all your documents and submit it into the university pool. Consultancy firm for me passes that way. Or you take document that you wrote yourself, you've made everything yourself, and you're looking for a second eye to review, just like manuscript writers. They look for even researchers. There are researchers that I know from Asia that look for English speakers, researchers amongst themselves, or even just anybody who is a good editor to help them improve their English. So, but that person is not writing the manuscript. So that goes, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to consultancy. And for applications to French schools, because I'm studying in France, so I can tell you, I don't know what her name is, but I can tell you that it's so easy for you to submit an application. A friend recently submitted his application. In fact, he got to know about the institution day 1. By day 3 or thereabout, he has submitted. And by June, you will know the outcome. It is so easy. I don't know who you are working with, but like Victor said, trust me, you can do it yourself. And that goes for even my take on the consultancy thing. You can actually take your document and submit yourself. That's what many of us do, right? And you can also take your document. Is no matter how good you have written a document, if Dr. Fola writes a document and gives me today, I will see a mistake there that I will correct. If I pass that same document to Dr. Victor, he will also do the same. If we pass it to everybody I can see, even to you that you are listening to me, you will find faults there. So usually we don't, as much as we say we submitted the best packaged, I'm just trying to make this very mild so you don't think some magical things are happening anywhere. If you take that document and pass it around, somebody will find fault. So all you can do is prepare that document to the best of the truth of your motivation. Like you mentioned, you found a problem. You think studying this thing will help you solve it. You've done what you are supposed to do in your motivation. Maybe somebody else, if you give them to review, what the marks they can do is improve the structure, grammar, flow, and the overall theme of your essay. Maybe you could read better. But the substance of it, if I'm to judge by what I've heard from you, I think it is enough. And mind you, when it comes to motivational letters and submitting application in France, I would say from experience, the way it's taken in places like the US, it's not how it's taken here. yes, they pay attention to it, but I would say your grades, your recommendation letters matters most. Sometimes even a weak motivation letter can pass. Even a weak one, sometimes, not most of the time. Sometimes it can pass. So what you have might be enough to pass. It might pass not because, oh, they are slack, but they could have seen maybe better potential from your CV, from your grades. Those might be justifications, or even work experience. Those might be justifications for such weak statements to pass. But of course, we would always advise that everyone puts in something very strong to stand a better chance of being admitted, because you are not the only person applying there. So just take your documents again. You can research a school in France. I can tell you before Wednesday, you will submit it. Just probably 50 euros or 100 euros application fee. You will submit in 2 days, I can guarantee you, if you find the right program for you. So don't, I would say that what you have done in terms of allowing the man give you advisory stuff and all of those things, in my opinion, you have not done anything wrong. Only that we think, if I think I'm speaking for the mind of some of my colleagues here, that you can do it yourself without having to pay. And that money can go into, like Victor said, buying tools and stuff to improve your writing abilities. But you can do it yourself. But fundamentally, I don't think you've done anything wrong as long as you did all the documentation yourself. So that's my take.
Okay, thank you very much, Michael. Hello. Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, can do. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, thank you. I mean, obviously, I mean, Talkative is aware that we are not. First of all, we've talked about this conversation prior to her joining, in terms of the actual people that give, everything. Write my personal statement, write my this, write my that. But also, we are not necessarily talking about her specifically. This is a platform that we have loads of people listening and will listen even after this space. So it's just to expand beyond just her situation to everyone else, to say try to avoid, if you're writing, I've always said it, and I think Victor and even Aaron before he left added to it, if you're asking people to review your work, that's no problem in any way, because it is good. In fact, it's encouraged. You have someone review your work, like you said, they can pick one or two things that you may have not noticed. But where we have issue is where someone is not even aware of what has been written about them, and then it's submitted, and there might be an issue in that situation because you're not even aware what the agents have written on your behalf. But no, we appreciate that information. Uh, I also would like to just to say from my own current experience, literally yesterday, I know I shouldn't be, maybe Dr. Tio, Dr. Yakubu, and every other doctor person or lecturer person in this space might flog me virtually for this, but I was actually marking scripts yesterday. Maybe not flog. I think we all do these things once in every now. In fact, maybe more often than not. But I was marking scripts yesterday for a colleague. So I'm second marking scripts, and this colleague have picked out few students that she thinks have got their essay. So one of my job was to try and check that she's correct, or maybe not so correct, or the thing is, it takes a I mean, if I could help it, I would just ban that thing if it's possible, because it takes a long time for you. There's a lot of things we have to consider before we can pick a student. It's almost like you're doing some investigative journalism or something like that. You're looking at the way they've written the word. How did they write this paragraph? How does it compare to that paragraph? Sometimes we even pull out their previous essays or their previous submission and compare. So it's like, you don't know how much work you give us. Something that you could have just marked and just, but you have to go through so many checks before you can pick a student. It's a lot of work. So and eventually, I mean, we do still try. We're not perfect, but we do try and pick these things, and you get picked. It tells on your transcript. It tells it's just not worth it. But that's the one we're discouraging. But when it comes to submitting and having people review your work, please go ahead and do that. I don't think there's anyone that will discourage you. Just be sure that you know who you're giving your work to review, that they know what they're doing, right? Once you're certain of that person, there's no problem in reviewing your work and supporting you. We all need support every now and then. Okay, so the other question here is, good afternoon, Dr. Fola. Can I have your email address? Huh? Would like to talk about getting a master's in the UK. Wow. Okay. Unfortunately, I cannot. I won't be able to give you my email address. And if you want to talk about, you make it sound like you're going to give me something. What would I gain if you get masters in the UK? Ha. Hey, you would like to get masters in the UK, and I should give you my email address because of that. Please, oh, I mean, if you're giving me something, it's different, but you're requesting something and you don't feel comfortable saying it on this platform. Is that the issue? Because if it's not, then write your question on this platform. Why do you have to go on requesting email? Anyway, moving along from that, do you think it's possible? Sorry to disturb you. No, it's not disturbance. Thank you. Do you think it's possible for international students to pay for? Okay, no, we are not talking about this because we've talked about it way before. Nobody, I am not encourage you, and nobody on this platform is going to encourage you to come to the UK or any other country abroad and have the hope of paying your tuition fee while you're studying. That is not something that I would encourage, neither would anyone, I believe, would encourage on this platform. Please make sure your finance are in order as much as possible for before you do this journey. Is a very hard journey. Your Like, you don't even understand what is happening when you come into your postgraduate program, right? You're coming in from a different environment. You're going to learn everything differently to an extent. You're going to have to adapt. You're going to have to be a fast learner. You're learning, the school environment, and you're also learning culturally in terms of the community that you're staying in, and all of this. You're doing all that, and you want to imagine that you will be able to work and be, no, I can't encourage that. So please, my answer will be a no. I don't know if anyone wants to take away or add to it. Yes, Dr. Tio.
The thing that I think people should be mindful of is that as a student, you are allowed a maximum of 20 hours of work. Now, being a student, I mean, 20 hours of work, even you, the minimum wage is around, I'm not sure, roughly around £10 maybe. So 10 multiplied by 20, I mean, I don't know how far that will go. Plus your tuition fee of, a minimum of 12 to 13,000, and that's the minimum. Okay, and the maximum it could go the maximum of £45,000 per year, or I think within that range. So how do you pay for, your tuition fee, even part or in whole? How does 20 hours of work, support that? It is completely, impossible. And that is why we are all encouraging people to work at getting scholarships if you don't have the finances. If you do have the finances, brilliant, then you can support yourself. So we are not encouraging anyone at all to, come to the UK or apply in the hopes that 20 hours of work is able to support you significantly. No, that is not possible. And that is not the message that I think myself and our colleagues on the platform are proposing. No, thank you.
Yep, Dr. Tio, absolutely. That is not what we are proposing. And for, sorry, Ada, just 1 second. Just to say that for Dr. Tio's calculation, 20 hours, let's say for £10, which you might not get work every week, to be honest, but let's say £10, that would give you £200 in a week. And that in a week, multiplied by 4 weeks, that would give you about £800. For those that may know, I have been sharing, I've been doing estimate of maintenance fee every on my timeline. You would see how much for each city. I mean, for some of the cities I've done, I think the cheapest I've seen in terms of adding accommodation of like 300 or so pounds, 300 or £350, groceries and transportation, you will still be going somewhere 500, £600. That's like the one of the cheapest. And so if you take 800 pounds away, take that away from 800 pounds, you're left with barely 200 pounds in a month. And so how is that? It's not even going to get anywhere if you have an installment of maybe 3,000, 4,000 pounds. In 3 months, you're barely saving up to 600 or so pounds. So even if that's you living as, as basic as possible, so it's just not advisable. Other place.
Yeah, I was gonna say, guys, like the doctors have said, just stick to the hours that you're supposed to work, which they would tell you on your form or your application or something like that. Just stick to it. Do not exceed it. When you're on holiday, i.e., school is not in session, I believe you can increase your hours. But whilst you're in session, you can only do 20 hours. The reason why we're saying this is because when you now go on after you finish your graduate program and you now go on to apply for postgraduate visa and all the other visas that come after it, they're going to look at all your NI history, your national insurance history, your work history, and they will know that you have been exceeding all these hours. I mean, it might not seem like anything when you're doing it and you might be enjoying the money, but at the time you now want to stay on to, make a meaningful contribution to the society, they will know, and that could affect you getting an onward visa to remain in the country. It could cause a lot of issues. UK is very strict when it comes to their immigration rules, and if you start breaching it, it will definitely it will be like a domino effect that will just keep affecting you. So it's just best you just come here, get everything you need to get in terms of funding, get it all sorted, come here and do your 20 hours whilst you're studying. That's what I wanted to say.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Fala.
Thank you so much, Ada, for that reminder. Very important there. There's a very long question I've got. Oh, there's a very short one which says, "Hi, Dr. Bola, can I ask a favor? Please, if you are asking me a question, just go to the question."
You are muted.
Oh, sorry, I didn't. I was going on and on. Thanks, Ada, and thanks, Dr. Teo. Yeah, I was just saying that I have a long question here, and I was just also saying before that someone asked me, "Can I ask you a favor or can I ask a question?" If you have the opportunity to come into my DM, just ask the question because I get lots of them and I can't even get through all of them. So when you're asking me, can I ask when you're already in there to ask anyway? Anyway, this question says they have admission University of Exeter, University of Reading, and Dundee. Exeter 23,000, Reading 24,000, Dundee 19,000. They got scholarship 7,000 from Dundee, and they have now almost 13,000 pounds to pay. Their choice is Exeter, but obviously the fee is a bit too high. Now it's I don't have 10 million I'm not using or can invest. How do you think I can go about this? Doesn't really. Okay, how much do you think is ideal for me to raise in terms of fees? I mean, how do I bag external scholarship? I mean, what do you this is proud. This is a lot. Okay, long story short, first of all, the funding is challenging for you, right? And you are applying to these universities. I mean, did you hear the cost? 25,000 or 23,000, 24,000. These are expensive schools. They are way more affordable schools for someone that is, struggling to raise such funds. And your preferred one is Exeter. Well, I mean, and so now, even the one with the scholarship, which now gives you about now comes down to 13,000 pounds, is still a struggle to afford that. And the question now is, how do you raise or how do you get external funding? I don't know. I mean, I understand there are some. I don't even know how to say it. There's some, let me say, interest in studying abroad and the rest of that. Let me not say desperation, but you can't get admission and then look for scholarship. In most cases, it doesn't work. You're supposed to get or have an eye on a scholarship and then move that, use that to fund the admission that you probably would then secure after that. Or just have a scholarship in mind, because right now this person doesn't have scholarship in mind. They like a very expensive school and the funding is not there, and they are now down for getting the admission but not getting the scholarship. You will feel down. You will feel, like you're losing something because you can't afford it. So why not look for a scholarship that can help you in the first place, rather than the other opposite of what yeah, I'm skeptical about letting these admissions go. Of course you will be, but I don't really know how to help. Maybe somebody, yeah, maybe Michael and Dr. Yakubu. Michael, please.
Okay, Dr. Fala, I can hear your emotions from everything you are saying. One of the rules for graduate school, at least when it comes to funding, you can't have a choice when you don't have money. I don't know who asked that question, but you can't have a choice when you don't have any. I remember I had a scholarship for a master's degree way back in 2016, I think, or even 2015. I think the school fee was around 13,000, and then they gave a scholarship of 5,000. I still had like 7 or 8,000 pounds to pay. Like right there, I just knew there was no hope. Like I can't just proceed with the application. Not because I don't want it. I understand you don't want that opportunity to go, but you can't you can't begin to select or try to ask, okay, now you have this admission, can you get scholarship? Actually, you can, but probably the opportunity is gone. I believe Commonwealth scholarship would require that you get the admission, then you also get nominated for the scholarship. So you want to wait for such opportunities. Where I think there's another scholarship at the moment. It's called the Great Scholarship. It allows you, for some schools, the application is closed, but I know some are still open. For that, you need to get admission from the school, and then you will submit your application for scholarship. So you want to check it out. If your field is there, the Great Scholarship, that's what it's called, is also in the UK. So those are the kind of opportunities you should try and leverage. But trying to say how much should you raise, the fact that you're asking that question means that it's going to be hard. And you can't work it. You can't do 20 hours work to pay your school fees. No. You can't leave fry pan and then you are jumping into fire. No, abroad is the fire version. Nigeria is the better fry pan in this context. So don't try it. Just look for either you accept to start again, but if you are really interested in this program, check out the Great Scholarship. It's still on for some schools, and they accept Nigerian applicants. So you want to check it out and see whether this might fit for you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. This is what we say, honestly, Michael. You don't get, if you see a scholarship, then you apply, especially those type of scholarships that require you apply to university, but you already see the scholarship, you targeted when the scholarship will be open, and then you plan it. But in this context, it seems this person just applied to these schools knowing that they would expect you to pay, and now you've gotten the admission and it's like, okay, I can't afford them, how do I go about it? It's almost like an intentional torture, and it's not, it's not encouraged. Thank you. Okay, what's this question? Okay, yeah. I Is someone okay? Oh, sorry, Ada. Yeah, I just see your hand.
Oh no, I got a question in my DM, so I just wanted to throw it out there, but it's okay. If you should I go on?
Yes, please. Go on.
Okay, so I had a question that says, can I bring my mother for a visit now that I'm in the UK and that she has been registered as a relative? So basically, the laws, like we've been saying, the laws in the UK are constantly changing, the immigration laws. The government, depending on the government, Labour or Conservative Party or whoever party. So in relation to bringing your parents, you need to show that you first of all, you have to be a British citizen, or you have to be settled within the UK, or you have to have some sort of humanitarian refugee status to be able to apply, to be able to make the application. And not you making it, actually, your parents will make it from outside of Nigeria. And they have to show that they are dependent on you for a long-term care. And for you to show that, they need medical reports. So they have to maybe have some sort of disability, have some medical condition, that basically that they're reliant on you. And without you caring for them, they more or less cannot go on and survive. And, you have to show that you can, you have the funds to be able to accommodate them in the country that in the UK, without claiming benefits for at least 5 years. You have to show that the care here to seek in the UK is not available or affordable in the country, i.e. in Nigeria. And obviously you also have to show that you're over 18. So it's called a family visa, and it's actually a very difficult visa to get. If you think about all these things that I've said, you have to get medical reports back and forth. You have to show that they are completely reliant on you in that care. You have to show WhatsApp log messages, constant calls, the fact that you're sending them money all the time, not able to afford the care in Nigeria. So it's quite a difficult task, but it's not an impossible task. Like what we've been saying here, always seek legal advice from a qualified immigration solicitor or advisor, and take it from there. So yeah, that's the answer to that question. Thank you, Dr. Fala.
Okay, thank you so much, Ada. I hope the person is able to get what they need from that response. Also, just to mention, this might not necessarily, because I just imagine maybe maybe not the person, but somebody else might take value from this, in the fact that if you're an international student, because obviously what Ada has explained now is when you're bringing your parents to come and live with you, sort of like, depend on you in the UK. But if you're an international student and you want your parents to come around for visit, I would advise you do that for your graduation. So if you look at my timeline, I was able to bring two of my sisters actually to the UK for my during my graduation period. So you can do that. Once it's your graduation, and we're actually in the process of bringing my somebody's mom to the UK as well, because it's around his graduation period. So if you are thinking, I want my parent to visit, you would need to establish why they want to visit, and definitely the ties in terms of they are going to go back, very important. Also that they have enough funds to fund the trip or the journey. And when we say enough funds, the mistake some people make is you have 2 million naira in your account, for example, and you estimate that you're going to spend 1.7 million naira. They are not going to they would probably not give that visa, because why would you want to spend your life saving, literally all you have, on a 2 weeks trip? It's just ridiculous, right? So you need to be, when we say showed, it has to be substantial enough money that when they come in, it is whatever they're going to spend is just going to be a fraction of what they actually have. And so try and maybe add all of these together. It could help in getting them to come in. But the easiest one that I know and I encourage people is try and attach it to your graduation. If you're coming in for your if your graduation is coming up, you can use that period to have your parent, because you will have school letter that would show that you're graduating. There's a school invite, there's a template that is the university would actually give you to invite your parent, and there are other information they would support you with from the university that would also help with the process. So this is just for those that might be thinking, as an international student, is it possible to invite my family in? Dr. Yakubu.
Hello, thank you for that. Yeah, just to swing back, the person who asks, he has had part scholarship, I think in 3 universities or one of them. Those kind of things, it does happen. So what the person needs to do is to examine him or herself whether the balance the person will be able to afford. If not, you'll be tempted to come to UK where you come and struggle. I have one of my students from Ghana who came. She actually had a PhD, and PhD is for a minimum of 3 years. So I told her to kind of get some of the funding in place, but she went for the visa application. I told her that there's likelihood of her getting the visa because of COVID. A number of admission went down, and I think the Home Office has relaxed some of their rules. And
she had the visa, and because she had a visa, she just came to UK, and I think she's struggling because the funding is not in place. So the person really need to kind of examine if, for instance, you are supposed to pay 13,000. Do you have enough money to live for the first few months or so? And you can work up to 20 hours and to check whether that will be able to sort it out. One way to go around this is that if it is a master's program, or you have to find out whether it's a master's program or a PhD. Because for a master's program, that's virtually one year. So at least once you submit your work, even if you are owing the university, you could work and pay off. But for a PhD, I think it will become a bit challenging. So one way of going around it is to find out from your department whether they have some kind of support there, because there are some individual cases that they may look at some of these things and consider. And another thing is to look at your supervisor if they have some pot of money to support research, or sometimes they may have some work, maybe data analysis or something that perhaps you'll be able to do and get extra money to support yourself. So make all this thinking, look at the end and think backwards. Don't just jump that maybe I've had past scholarship and jump there. And I do tell a lot of my students that I help, and sometimes they think that maybe you are preventing them from coming, but those who come, maybe they just abandon the course, or maybe they wait. Some do wait, and the following year or two they get fully funded. And this year I have about 2 of them who have been fully funded, but previous years they either had 50% or maybe they were not sponsored picked at all. So sometimes the timing is really, really important. That's what I have to say on that.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Yakubu. Very, very valuable. So, and also, I remember when I got my PhD scholarship, I actually had a colleague who also had the scholarship but part funded, and he was able to get from his home country. It's always easier to an extent if you get part funding. You can maybe use that to see other options within either the university, the department, like Dr. Salifu has mentioned, or your home country. But where it's just self-funded type of situation, that becomes really challenging. Okay, so this one says, I'm trying to apply for public health in Salford University. Any advice would help. Please apply. I don't think I have. I mean, this is very vague. What advice can I say? Just apply. I don't know what to add to that. Hello, doctor. I love your tweets. Thank you. I studied computer engineering. Da 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 da. I want fully funded scholarship. Wow. I do not have any funds, but I'm looking. Please, we have talked and shared a lot on this platform on scholarships, in the fact that, first of all, you have to be ready to do the work. You just come and ask me, you need scholarship. I don't have scholarship. I don't give scholarship. And Dr. Salifu and other doctors would actually agree with me. It's difficult for you as a lecturer within UK, to be honest, to actually give someone one person scholarship. Like, it's not that we don't really have that luxury. Even if you have the funding, you would have to put out, because we try and make it as fair for everyone. You put out adverts, you interview applicants, you make sure that the person you're going to select is convincing enough that they can do they can study and do the whatever responsibility that comes with it. So asking some just give me scholarship, or yeah, is really, yeah. Anyway, just to say, if you're serious about it, you need to start by one, following everyone on stage, because they share a lot of information around these issues. Also, you need to, I mean, the internet is your friend. Try and access this content online. I think it was Michael that shared the Grace Scholarship is okay. This person, yeah, the Grace Scholarship is still open. Commonwealth is coming up. Chevening as well is coming up. I believe Victor talk about all of these things well enough as well, so you can check out the resources that they put out there. the someone talk about opportunities for Africans.com. That's a platform that you can look at, jobs.ac.uk, scholarshippositions.com. So all of these things are out there, but you would have to do the work. I can see you said you graduate with a 4.2. That's nice, but we also mentioned that beyond your qualification, your degree classification, you need other things to excel, to be able to back that scholarship you're interested in. So think about extracurricular activities that you can add on, community engagement and volunteering, very important, attending conferences, publishing if possible, or working just within a research team, and just, yeah, adding all of those things. Take online courses would also help you as well. So I hope this is of any use in terms of help. Thank you. Does anyone have anything to add that I've missed out? Okay, no, we're good. Oh yeah, Victor, please.
I just wanted to say Google is your friend. That's just it.
Okay, yeah, add that onto it as well. I see you talk more on UK. I've got an offer already to a school in UK. I would like your advice. The advice on declaring visa refusal. I have had stories of schools delaying CAS after telling them about a previous visa refusal. They have asked me now in the CAS data checks sent to me by email. I plan to declare the refusal to UKVI, but just not sure if to uni. Any information? I would say you should. I mean, declare to the uni. Why not? If they've asked you, especially, and they find out, do you know that's one thing? Has anyone ever noticed that, especially when you're applying for all these UK VI stuff, or even US? I remember when I was applying for US visa, then they would ask you, are you part of a terrorist group? Have you been charged with any criminal offense? Have you blah blah blah? Do you intend to come and bomb the US? Do you have plan to be you? They will ask all these ridiculous questions, and you would think it's ridiculous when you're answering them like, obviously, even if I was coming to, would I say yes? I would say no. The reason they're asking you is not because they expect you will say yes, but it's so that you can tell them no. So if they catch you, they can put it to you and say, this is the evidence you said no. Now you have done it, right? So the school asking you to check doesn't asking you if you have a refuser and you tell them no, they will find out. Guess what? These people, they actually share information with the home office, and they also share information from the home office, like vice versa. The information goes both ways. So where you're going to declare to the UKVI and not declare to the school, it doesn't mean they won't find out. So, and I don't think there's anything wrong in telling them. So please just inform the school. Would be my advice. Victor, please.
Yeah, I'm curious about why your visa was refused initially. But you don't need to disclose that, of course, but try to make sure that you're not repeating the same mistake as well. Because if you're declaring that, oh, I didn't have enough money then or something, what about now? Have you sorted out that issue? I think the second point is that there's a lot of data sharing among UK universities with the Home Office. In fact, in the EU, I remember having a very funny experience. So I came to the UK, I think, first in 2017, then left in 2018, then came back after some time in Germany in, I think, 220 or 221. Then when I got to the airport and the lady saw my passport, it was like, your first time in the UK? I said, no. But like, oh, I can see it here. When did you come back first? I think instead of saying 2017, I said 2018. So like, no, my record says something different. Like, oh, sorry, I made a mistake. So they have all your itineraries already. And I even changed my passport in the first place. The last passport expired. So I had to use a new passport. But they still had records of my past passport and my past surgeons in the UK. So they have all the data, and it's just good to just be in their good books and declare, yes, I've been in the UK before, or yes, I've been refused the visa before, or something. Because when you start lying, you start giving them opportunities to suspect you. So just declare that, yeah, this is what I've done in the past, and you probably have the records already or something. Yeah, I think that's the best way to go.
Thank you so much, Victor. Yeah, honesty is definitely the best policy here. Dr. Teo.
Hi, I have an interesting one in my inbox. So Good afternoon, Dr. Theo. Thanks for the timely conversation. I'm in between decisions, going for a fully funded PhD in Kazakhstan and another MSc in the UK. I'm 30. I'm so skeptical of life after PhD. Some of my friends going to UK, Canada now would have settled down fully. What do you think I should do? I really enjoy research at the same time. At the same time, sustenance is important. What do you think I should do? Well, my understanding, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll just chip in and then other colleagues could just come in. My personal opinion would be, I mean, it's not really about speed and comparing yourself to other people. You are on your own life journey. I don't see why you should even be comparing yourself. And age really is, for me, and then again, of course, it's in my opinion, it's really just a number. It is really what you make of it, and age, being old is just is in your mind, really. The other thing, I will be more leaning, and of course, this is where my bias will come in, but I will be more leaning towards you going for the PhD in Kazakhstan. I mean, of course, you might say, and of course, my apologies to anyone from Kazakhstan, but I mean, you might say, okay, you want to be in the West, but you are interested in research, as you said. If the research project that is being sold out there to you, that you have fully funding for, is something that is within your interest and your skill sets are even able to, fair enough, just go for it, really. Because, I mean, you are interested in research, that's the most important thing. And it's a plus and bingo if, the topic is in your area of interest. So I think it's no-brainer, go for it. For the PhD will be my point. If, of course, the topic on the PhD is not something that you are really keen on, you could as well go for the fully funded MSc in the UK. And, of course, you stand a good chance of securing a PhD of your choice after that MSc. Of course, because you mentioned age, again, of course, you might be thinking about age, but it is still just a number, and you do not need to be comparing yourself to other people because your journey is completely different and is supposed to be unique from other people. Thank you. I don't know if you guys can add something to it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Theo. Michael and then Dr. Yakubu.
Okay. Regarding that question, for the person who asked the question, the other question I want to ask is, have you already started a family? That's where I'll go from there. So assuming you've not started a family and you have the option between Kazakhstan PhD and UK master's degree, the next question I will ask you beyond family will be, what's your research interest? Is the project in the UK not really fitting into your interest, or is the one in Kazakhstan better? For instance, there are certain areas, very minute niche specialties, where the only place you can learn them are in places seemingly that does not look like your common Canada, UK, and the likes. It happens like that sometimes. But if you have a family already and you are having to make this choice, in my opinion, you have to look at afterlife, post-studies opportunities. At the moment, UK would be the better option because that is something that your family can benefit from. But if you don't have a family and so you are free-spirited, you can move. The PhD in Kazakhstan will be a good option if the research aligns so much, because for a master's, you will still do research. So your passion for research is not restricted, whether it's a master's or PhD, as far as I'm concerned. And meanwhile, doing a master's in the UK still gives you opportunity to apply for a PhD if you really want to do it. Again, the end goal is what matters. After a master's in the UK, you get post-study visa, and then you can use that to apply for work, or you can use that to apply for a PhD. Again, you want to put into consideration, it might not be so much, but reputation is also something where you get your postgraduate degree from. A PhD in Kazakhstan. Yes, it's a PhD and a PhD from Qatar or IT. Everybody's doctor. Nobody cares. But when the chips are down in political rooms, in judgmental rooms, people will evaluate you and ask that question, where are you from? Now the UK put out an opportunity and says people from top 50 universities. The person on the 51st university will miss out on that opportunity based on that question, where do you come from? Who is your father? That kind of question. So you want to evaluate yourself with that or within that lens. What's the strength of that degree? For me, I would tilt towards a master's in the UK. Not because it's just West, but I think it affords you more opportunities. You most likely, assuming you most likely will not struggle with language, and you can get things running on the go. Language might seem like a simple thing, but I can tell you that it can also be a very, very serious margin for you. If you are even going with a family, then it increases that gap. So I would advise that you ask that question. For me, if you have family, go to the UK. If you don't have family, go to the UK. Because after finishing your studies in the UK, there are so many options. Plus, I think you having your CV read a master's from social university in the UK, as long as a public institution, a well-known institution, I will be biased towards the UK. Thank you.
Okay, so there's UK and Kazakhstan conversation here. I'm not sure, Dr. Yakubu had your hand, you've dropped it. But then I'm not sure whose hand went up first, but between Silas and Dr. Ade B, who wants to go first? Dr.
So let me
Ade.
go.
Okay, yes, Silas, that's fine. Please go on.
Well, I think I'll just say that in this life, we all have different grace and faith. Yeah, that's just the truth. I think the person needs to take critically, and there may be some opportunity in Kazakhstan that he does not know, and UK may not be favorable to him. That is just the truth. I was supposed to be in the UK or in the US, but I found myself in Barcelona. But I will tell you the truth. I am very, very happy that I'm currently in Barcelona now. Yes, because I know what I've been able to do from here. Yes, these things, we cannot predict them sometimes. Do we predict them sometimes with some of these indices and result and statistics, but man, our fields are quite different. But all I would advise the young person is to put everything in the hand of the Lord and pray for direction. That is just the truth, because he definitely does not know where will favor him in the future. That is the truth. So I'll leave him to decide critically and pray that God direct him, because I was hustling to be in the UK, to be in the US, but finally I never thought I found myself in Barcelona after my second application to the school. So there are a lot of things going on now, but I'll say that if he's really keen on doing research, I don't see a reason for a second master's degree. He should go for a PhD and put everything in and things will fall in places for him. That is just the truth. Thank you.
Okay, I think at the end of the day, we're back and forth. This is going to be just each person's individual opinion based on their own experience or what they think is appropriate for this individual. But Dr. Teo, I'm not sure you said the person has a fully funded master scholarship. I know you said fully funded PhD, but I'm not sure the master's is also fully funded.
Both opportunities are fully funded.
Okay, all right. Dr. Adebi, thank you.
Good evening, thank you for the space and the opportunity. I actually want to address this question. And from the last question that you had about the masters also being funded, I think that shed more light, because if the masters has not been funded opportunity, then pound for pound, the PhD being funded is the best, for me, the better decision. I have a belief that irrespective of where you do your PhD, especially if you are in STEM, this is science. It doesn't matter. It is the science that you do, the contribution to it, the knowledge that differentiates you. I have a colleague, we have a saying like, PhD is a meal ticket. So it depends on what you put forward and what you're able to come out with your PhD. I don't believe of course, there is the advantage of where you do your PhD and then the prestige that is attached to that. But then, if you are in science and then you do a quality work, you're able to distinguish yourself. The school where the country where is the guy got the funded opportunity is also an European country, I believe. And then for you to have been recognized for a fully funded position, that means that your scholarly ability has been recognized by some entity, and they find you worthy of that. It adds a weight to your CV for whatever opportunity that you might intend to. And then we might say yes, that the UK has recently opened up an opportunity for graduates of the top 50 university in the world. Really, if you are able to finish with PhD from any of those 50 universities, getting any position in the UK will never be a difficult thing for you, I believe. So that's opportunity, that kind of opportunity might just be like, it might not something that you really need. So from my own perspective, I think PhD is way better decision than a master's, because at the end of by the time you finish, for some others people said age is not on his side. If you finish your master's, you will still be considering that PhD. I not go for the PhD in the first place. That's just my own take. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. There will always be different takes on this situation. So, Michael, do you want to briefly add something?
Yeah, just to say two things. First is to really support what Silas said. Primarily, pray about it if you are religious. Pray about it for direction, and I say that because it depends on how that relationship is between you and the God you serve. You can get directions, very clear one in that manner. To encourage you in this light, I will say something that happened with me regarding the Australia stuff I said the other time. I actually did get the opportunity in Australia. That was a week after I got to France, and I got the email that I got the funding also for Australia, so I had to reject it. But if I look at the chips before me, I had every reason to choose Australia. Language, and most importantly, my best friend is in the same school and is working with the same supervisor. So I already have the best leverage to choose that place. But I chose somewhere else based on other factors, and most importantly, I was sure this is where I am supposed to be divinely, so to say. So yes, that will play a role. Then back to the bias thing for me. Yes, I know that the Kazakhstan opportunity is a PhD, and it will offer you the opportunity to be there for years and do research and all that. We also need to consider the fact that state of the art is not something that is everywhere, even though everybody offers opportunities in STEM. For instance, in my field, given the fact that, in fact, I know the question was asked when I joined the space, which was, I changed my field completely. I already did undergrad in a field, did masters in that field, but I changed completely for PhD. But discussions have already passed that, so I'll leave that. Then after I completed the master's degree and the opportunity for Australia showed up after I got to France, aside the prayer, the most important thing for me was also to be glad about what I'm doing. Now in my field, the machine I use for my work, there are probably only 4 or 5 institutions in the world that have it. And so we want to also consider state of the art, the machines. I don't know the field. If it's a field that might not require that, it's understandable. But I believe that as much as, for instance, Spain is advanced in certain field. But in my field, they don't have the machine that we use. They don't. They don't have it over there. So you also want to look at all this exposure. And in even work interviews, especially, let me use clinical research, for example. Someone who mentions, oh, I have not worked with certain techniques or something in an interview, compared with somebody that said, oh, I've worked with Western blot, qPCR, I've done this and that and that. The fact that you are mentioning all these, institutes or organization level tools might give you an upper hand. So I want to add to, it's like I'm adding more problem for the person in terms of saying, consider this, but I think it's also worth to note, where will you find that state of the art in order to also support your research? I know papers that were not published because certain instrumentations were not used. I don't know if you have come across that, but I've come across colleagues who couldn't publish papers because certain tools were not used, which were not, so they did not really accept or believe that that kind of work can be done without that tool. And to be fair, it's not like what they used was bad, but it was not state of the art. So it's something not for consideration.
It is. I think it would always be. Dr. Adevi, okay.
Yeah, I just want to make some reaction to that last statement about state of the art. I believe even if an institution doesn't have a kind of equipment or whatnot that is required for the methodology of the research, there is always a opportunity for research visits. That is why there is research visits in science all over the world. You don't necessarily have to have everything. No, even institution will most likely have everything. You can make research visits to complete part of the work, or make research collaboration to do some aspect of the work. I don't believe that is really a kind of challenge that should weigh in terms of research. It's even provide opportunity for collaboration. I collaborated with somebody for my first article for my PhD with somebody that I met purely off ResearchGate. We never met from the time that we collaborated, and then it's even led to publication. I just sent my sample to him. I've done the aspect of some certain aspect of the analysis. He completed the other half. And then from that discussion we had from research up until publication was purely online. We never met. So I don't really believe that should be a kind of a stumbling block to if somebody wants to make a decision. That's just my additional things I want to add. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I think we should just wish the person the best of luck in their decision. Okay, Dr. Olu, if you're going to chime in, then that's fine on this very conversation. But if not, we just wish the person best of luck. I think both sides have put out their scholarly opinions on what should be the best way to go. And I think in addition to that, try and, if you're a faithful person, try and add your faith into the mix, and God help us all. Dr. Olu.
Yeah, the reason why I quickly came up was in reaction to, I think it was it was Dr. Adibi's point. You see, the irony of this is that we all have different experiences when it comes to exploring exploring potential collaboration, research, visit, and all the rest of them. And I will give you mine, which was completely opposite of what Dr. Adibi. But you also have to understand the context. So in my own case, I needed to use cyclotrons, basically to do some things on polymer film. And there are, as at the last count, there are maybe 3 or 4 institutions in the whole world where you can find this equipment. So I had to be traveling between South Africa and the Joint Institute for Nuclear Research in Dubna. And guess what? I spent at least 1 year before everything around my research visit to JINRA in Dubna, Russia could be materialized. I mean, technically speaking, I was basically sitting 1 year in the real sense of it, not doing any research, but basically reading. So again, my point, my perspective in this case, it's slightly different. I think the reason why Dr. Adibi's point is kind of
looks relatively easy is because the core or the complete dependence of his research is not entirely resting on that. In my own case, if I don't do that experiment, there's no way I can continue with some of the things that I was going to be doing, with my samples, as far back as 2011. So you just want to try and play around all of that, just to make sure that you don't find yourself in a very tricky, difficult situation. Yeah. So, but the good thing is that we are hearing these divergent views, these divergent opinions, so that you understand that it's not necessarily one cap fits all, and so you have to factor in so many things so that life doesn't become too unnecessarily hard for you. Thank you. I yield the mic.
Yay. Thank you so much, Dr. Olu. And like I said earlier, I think we would have to just wish the first of all, congratulations on getting fully funded scholarships, not one but two. I remember when I got a job, I got two jobs at the same time, and I went to a professor. I think I was in a similar, maybe not, but in a similar. I was like, which one should I go for? And he's like, Fola, the first thing I can tell you is you have a very good problem. So I would say to the person, you have a good problem, and we wish you whichever one you decide to choose. There are so many people that are looking for just one, and for you to have two of them and making a decision, it's a very good problem. Well, we just wish you the best in whichever one you decide to go with. Taking away from the different arguments, you could go with the one, the camp that you sort of like align with. But whichever one, I think, they for you to even get two scholarships, it means you know your onions, and the sky is just like the starting point. So best of luck. Okay, Dr. Olu, before I come to Treasure.
Yeah, sorry. What I just quickly wanted to add to this conversation is, this person, please consider recommending your friend for either of the scholarship that you're going to decline. I think that is, you might want to consider that. Please consider recommending your friend. You might just have a friend that you know is capable, that can pull his weight around. Please and please, that's just all I want to beg you to do. Start to look and say, okay, which of my friend can I recommend? So that as soon as, in fact, you can make it part of, the point that you're making to the sponsors or the body that is giving you the scholarship to say, look, I've got something. And I'm saying this because I've seen it happen over and over again. So please consider one of your friends that you know will really appreciate it, and do recommend the person. Thank you.
Yep, very important there. Thank you so very much. And if you can, maybe not immediately, but when you finish, when you decide, when your friend has gotten it, hopefully, you can also share how you did it, what exactly you did to help anyone else that may, be applying next year for the same scholarship or similar scholarship. So it's just, this is why we're here. Most of us, we just dedicate our time and just share these informations. So if you also can in your own way, well, this is what I know. This is how it's gonna, maybe it will help one or two people. Please put it out there, tweet about it. I'm sure if we see it, we would retweet such nice tweets on how to secure such scholarship. Treasure, please.
All right. Can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity, for that. I've been following this space for quite some time, even since last week. But I want to ask a question. I don't know if any of the speakers have touched about it at all, but my question is, now I recognize the fact that there are so many opportunities, fully funded scholarships outside there in the UK and other countries. But for a person like me who studied agricultural economics, I don't think I have anybody from University of Ibadan here in Nigeria. So I'm wondering, is it possible for me to migrate, because I'm to change course, so to speak? Because I'm thinking about, I'm looking at the opportunities that is available for somebody who studies actual economics over there. So, yes, so though I'm not planning of leaving now, but eventually after my degree, I'll plan on applying for full funded scholarship outside there in the UK and other countries. So, but my concern is, and I really want people to, like, you guys to throw my light on it, like give me insight. So my question is,
is it possible? Are there opportunities for people who study agricultural economics for masters? Is it job, or are there any job opportunities for that person so that when this person graduates, person can fix himself somewhere there and and succeed? Or can I actually migrate to another field entirely? Because I have interest in tech. I have interest in tech, into UI, UX, digital marketing and all that. So I'm thinking of if I have these opportunities, like there is one tweet that Victor posted immediately where they have fully funded scholarship for masters in social sciences and humanity. So though that is not my field, but the fact that I actually want to, get something, hold on to something, can I actually migrate to that field? And is it possible? Do you advise me to do that, or just to stick on my field of economics?
Okay. You mentioned Victor, and Victor is also had his hand up, so I will just ask that if Victor can please go on that one. Thank you.
Yes. First of all, I think if you're pursuing a scholarship, migration shouldn't be like the determining factor. Because if it is migration, then any opportunity that comes your way, whether it's in your field or not, you want to take a go at it. And of course, you might not get it because if it's a scholarship, they are seeking for those with the background already and the experience. So I wouldn't say just accept anything or apply for anything because you just want to move. And I understand the relationship, of course, between wanting to study abroad and wanting to migrate and having a better life. That's a fair ambition to have. But make sure the scholarship and academic excellence will come first, and migration will be a closely followed second ambition. So when it comes to your course, agricultural economics, I feel every country in the world wants agricultural sustainability. So I can think of several countries in the UK, in Germany, in the US, on this course of agricultural economics, agriculture in general. So there are lots of courses. What you just need to do now is go to Google, type MSc Agricultural Economics, UK University, or MSc Agricultural Economics, US University, or whatever country you intend to study. Then you see a list of courses there, a list of suggestions. Click on those suggestions. If you're going to be a self-funded student, well, you can check the fees. If you're going to be applying for a scholarship, then you go to the funding tab and check what kind of opportunities they have. And in the UK, for instance, since sustainability and agriculture is a big deal, but when it comes to the development agenda and courses that the Commonwealth or the Chairman would sponsor, you might probably also want to keep an eye on these scholarships, the Chairman, Commonwealth, MasterCard, because these are like the issues they are often interested in. I think there's actually a team in the Commonwealth scholarship about this agriculture, sustainability, and food security as well. And I think I even have a friend who he did development economics, but he's specializing in agricultural economics at the School of Oriental and African Studies, University of London. So there are lots of things out there. Just go to Google, essentially. And for post-study work opportunities, as I said, this is agriculture. Every country wants to eat. It's something that is in vogue. I don't think there's any country that is not interested in agriculture, whether it's Canada, the US, UK, or Germany. So just go through Google, type in your course, go to the universities, and then check their funding packages if you're interested in scholarships as well. Yeah, I think that's it for me for now.
Thank you. Okay. I'm just going to drop you because the noise is coming from your end. Sorry. Michael, were you gonna?
Yeah, I just wanted to add a few things to what Victor just said now. It's the decision to transition from one field to the other is not something someone else will help you make. You need to make that decision. The only thing is the preparation for both pathways are different. If you decide that you really want to go into UI UX, digital marketing after you finish your studies, then you want to be building portfolio, you want to be taking on projects, have maybe a GitHub or somewhere where you display all of this portfolio and say that, yes, I study agri-economics, but my interest in this thing can be, these are proofs of my interest and these are the results I've even helped others get. That would win the motivation letter argument easily because you have proof to show that, you found your interest in this and then you did this for someone else. These are proofs, links to proof to your work. And in fact, those ones are really getting good report from their clients or something, assuming it's a business you have done that job for. So that can work. You need to sort out that interest. And you can truly transition if it's something you want to do. The fact that you study agri-economics does not mean you cannot study anything. I mean, anything you want to study if you really are interested. So I study something plant related, but I'm not doing it any longer for the PhD. So you can actually do the same if you are really interested in doing that. And there are opportunities, like Victor said. In fact, I think part of the occupational list, even in Canada, has something to do with agricultural stuff. Yes, I know I've seen it once or twice. So there are many opportunities. If you choose to leverage the fact that you have a PSc in agri-economics and use that to look for opportunity, it's a good choice that you can make, because it makes the decision making easier for anybody reading your essay that, oh, this person studied it. So I think the person can be accepted, provided other aspects of the application also was very cool. So just make your decision based on this, whether resolve the tech thing if you really want to pursue tech, or if not. But if you have the energy, you can do the two at once. If you have the energy and the ability to do that, when you assess yourself, you think you can pursue both at the same time, so that you can try to look for which opportunity comes first, and then you follow the one that comes first, since you are interested in both. But I think starting out, for most young people, it's okay not to know. It's okay not to really be clear about certain things yet. At some point, you cannot make excuse for that. But at the starting point, when you are trying to say, I'm interested in agri-economics, but I don't know whether there's opportunity there, and then I'm interested in tech, then pursue the two. Which opportunity comes first? You take it since you already have interest, and then you go out live, and like Victor said, the migration discussion, that's something for later. You need the reason to move. The first thing is, how do you move? What's the reason for moving? And of course, it's because you are looking for funded scholarship. So don't put that migration first. Put the scholarship comes with migration automatically in the first place. So that's not the question. What you do afterwards, in fact, can be it's not something most of us might be able to even respond to on here on this space, because we don't know the people you will meet, the opportunities that will come your way. The country you think that you are going for the masters might not be the country where the opportunity will come. It might even be in Asia. So that question sometimes can be far-fetched. For now, the focus should be on pursuing both pathways with your strength and see which opportunity comes first. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Someone has just added that for the guy asking opportunities in agricultural economics, that the double AD, that's the dad, German scholarship, even have a scholarship funded, and I know someone that got it, so he needs to use Google, right? They are funding for people with his background. So obviously, I mean, I think it's the same thing we've been saying as well. Someone is also saying the same thing here. I think it was Dr. Yakubu and then Olajide, I think. Yeah. Dr. Yakubu.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, I think later on, the other speakers spoke about some of the things that I wanted to speak. But just to kind of point this important thing out, once you have options, it also becomes an issue, a problem, just like not having an option at all. So what I will encourage the person to do is to do something like a grid, look at the options that he has, then kind of do some kind of scale of preference in terms of people have talked about, maybe the funding, maybe the amount, what are the resources available, what are the chances of you being, employed if you so wish to be employed after your program, and opportunity for collaboration. But sometimes what makes the whole thing very muddy is there are some hard decisions that need to be taken by the person. And there are some things that, some people may not be able to explain. There are some things that you want, but we wouldn't know. So it's really up to the person to kind of compare all these things. I can just compare this one to you choosing a life partner. Somebody may want somebody with dark skin. Somebody dark skin also put the person off. Those kind of nuances. It's very difficult. So maybe you may get like some ladies who say tall, handsome man who has beard, who has money. Then maybe
and
you get
six
a
packs,
situation.
Dr. Yakubu.
Yeah, six packs. We are not many. We are very few. So then maybe you may get that long, the person tall, handsome person, but maybe in terms of money it is a bit low. And then you get another person who has the money, but it doesn't have this. So it's very, very difficult. You need to kind of, do some kind of jigsaw, test, and finally decide. So do not do away with the interest. I do tell a lot of people, I like to teach. I'm a qualified nurse, both internationally and here in the UK, but I don't practice clinically. And I tell my colleagues that if I work clinically and I get paid, let's say, £5,000, and I teach and I get paid, let's say, £4,000, I'll still teach. So you see, it's kind of different for different people. Somebody will also go for the money. So take all these things into consideration and follow where your interest is, because that more or less is becoming part of your life. Your PhD or your master's and whatever you do and your career is becoming part and parcel of your life. So do not make a decision and exclude all these important things. So that's the little bit I want to add.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Yakubu. Olajide next. Thank you.
Doc, thank you, Doc, and greetings to everyone in this space. I learned you've been going at this for 2 hours, so sorry for coming a bit late for part 2. To the guy who has interest in tech and has a background in agri-economics, first of all, because emphasis here is on funding, because I want to assume you don't have the financial capability to do that, based on the discussion here. You want to, first of all, you want to come in from an area of strength, which is agri-economics. You want to look at programs that will fund you for agri-economics, food, agricultural and food policy, food and policy management. These are variants of courses you can look at. There, widely available in a whole lot of countries, from the UK, from Canada to US, and blah blah blah, that will fund you. But of course, you also said you have interest in migration, so I want you to be careful when you are looking for all those funded programs in the UK, because of the clause that are tied to them. But that doesn't take away your interest from tech and getting into tech. See, if you've been building the interest already, 1, 2, and you've been doing something in that space right now, taking courses online, putting projects on GitHub, putting up portfolio, that doesn't stop you from going for a food and or an agricultural economics program. When you get there, right, you can seek opportunities for tech jobs, because you have a statistical background, a background in economics and things like that. There are jobs that will be willing to take you into tech field, because you have the capacity already, you build portfolios, you have a related education, right? So think either we go for a program in agri-economics, then you can always transition into tech. I'll give examples, like I said yesterday, from friends who did this. They've been doing stuff in tech, machine learning, algorithms, all those things, right? So he went for a program in forest biometrics and things like that. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, though?
Yes.
So sorry, I got a call. I'm so sorry about that.
Yes, you're back on.
you hear me?
Yes, I can. We can.
Okay, perfect. So he got a course in. He went purposely for a course in forestry, right? Did a master thesis in using machine learning tools and stuff like that, and applied it to a forestry project, and then purposely seek opportunities and jobs, right, that requires all these skills as a machine learning engineer, and he's working right now in Europe, away from forestry. So you can come into it from that angle. But if you are looking to get into a tech program, let's say a data analytics program, with funding that is already competitive. You have people from maths, people from stats, people from computer science, people who have those nice profiles that fit perfectly. You might be fighting a lost battle from onset. So think of it that way. You have the perfect experience. I also have friends that are doing agricultural economics, agric and environmental policy, things like that. But that banking and finance experience from Nigeria. Went into this program purposely, and right now I think they are interning in a Deutsche Bank somewhere in Luxembourg, right, doing something in fintech. So these are strategies that you need to think about when you want to apply to programs like this. Your passion doesn't stop. Your skills won't be taken away. Go for where you will get the money. So when you get there, once you land, start thinking about, okay, how will I keep up with my skills, and where are the jobs? What do I need to get? What do I need to do to get into there? And start planning strategically. Get someone to pay for you to get over there first. Then when you get there, you can do whatever you want. You have 2 years or maybe 1 year of masters to make that decision, and I believe you won't make it. You won't go wrong with it. I wish you guys the best. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Olajide, for that summation. Someone said, how do I go about post-study visa? I have a video on post-study visa on my profile, and I'm very sure there are so many other views on post-study visa. But just to sum it very quickly, is that with post-study visa for UK students, if you have completed your program, definitely complete, make sure you've completed your program, because some people, they when you have outstanding modules, you will not be eligible for it. So completed program, then you use that to apply with the home office. You actually don't need there's really not much requirements, to be honest. This is like one of the most straightforward visas you can apply for, but the details are literally on my YouTube channel, which I hardly do, but and also on other channels. I don't know, I just want to move past that. It's not really like there's a lot of information on post-study visas. How about fully funded scholarship for newly graduates? Wow. Okay. We've talked about scholarships several times, right? And we've talked about the fact that there are so many points that you have to go and start your scholarship search and journey. And so I would advise that you please, if you are just joining, maybe watch this, or sorry, listen back to this recording to hear so many informations that have been passed around, how you can go for scholarship, or sorry, how you can search for scholarship and hopefully apply for one. For students that have issues with funding, yes, so it's the same thing, we've talked about it earlier. So please, could you wonder full platform, yeah, to assist scholarship speaker, da, 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 da. Please, could you help list some universities in UK, Australia, and others that have affordable fees and scholarship? Wow, I don't know if any of our speakers can do that, because I can't right now list out universities. I think, as Victor mentioned way into this conversation, this is something you have to do yourself. Right now, I'm surprised I'm hearing you say, could I list out? Because I would think you have done your search. I think it was Michael that said Google is your friend. It is your friend. You should have done your search on some of these schools that you can look for funding, or that are affordable for you to apply to in these countries. But just roughly, I think in the UK, I would say right now, Teesside is very hot. Not for scholarship, but affordable. Teesside, maybe Hull University, maybe which other university comes to mind very quickly? Maybe Glasgow, Caledonian, and Leeds Metropolitan. But yeah, University of Bolton. But you need to do this search yourself. Unfortunately, if that doesn't help. Um, Please, is this real? What is real? I was surprised to find this because my brother said, friend said, I will have to use black market when it is time, but I found something. No, if you have, I actually had someone just process their payments 2 days or 3 days ago. UBA Bank is one. This person is asking about Form A payment. So it's actually UBA. They are doing very well. I think. I mean, it's not easy to get it, but you can get your payment through the bank. So it's definitely a better route. Also, strike and my transcript is not out. Please, will when will I be most likely, when would be the deadline for September application? Well, for September application, it depends on the school. Some schools are closed right now within UK, like literally closed for September intake. But some are still open. So it will depend on the university that you're applying to. They may or may not be taking intakes for September. So I would just say that would my speakers, so thankful for you guys being here, but would you mind if we round this up in like 20 minutes time? Because I appreciate, thank you. I appreciate we've been here a while now. So if yeah, thank you so much. So like we'll still try and take as much as we can, but we should, this is Sunday evening. I'm sure Dr. Olu, Dr. Tio, Dr. Salifu, even Michael, Victor, and all our able scholars have things they have to prepare for before tomorrow, Monday, start. So thank you so much for the time. I do appreciate it. We'll try and round up in the next 20 minutes or less. Please, do you have anything on vocational education in auto mechanic? I do not. Does anyone have vocational education? It might be you. Sorry?
The person should go and check Google, some Google.
Okay. So Mr. Silas, I've gladly offered that we start with Google and then we move on. You can come to us hopefully if there are specific questions that we can help with. But just first of all, maybe try doing quick search yourself would be a good way to start. Good afternoon, good afternoon. Please, I want to ask a question. I'm in space. I can't see you, but please, if you want to ask question, either you request or you type it as you have already sort of done. Good afternoon. It would have been nice you just type it and then we can answer that question as quick as possible. Um, okay. Very quickly, in countries like Australia, that's Aaron. Aaron is not here anymore with us. Is sleeping, not like he's not here. And UK, where tuition fees are quite expensive. If I study social work that has paid placement, how can one manage to raise money within the foreign country as a student to pay up his fee? We've talked about this before. Please don't come to all these countries thinking you can pay your fee. You have to have something from home. It's not advisable, and I don't think anyone on this space is going to advise you to do that. What could you advise an anatomy MSc holder with 5 years lecturing experience? Oh my goodness. I don't have anything to advise because you haven't even asked me the question. What would you advise anatomy MSc holder with 5 years experience to do? What? Please try and ask the actual question because right now I don't know what you asking advice on. Okay, good day, Ma. Just want to confirm if it's possible to get scholarship in nursing sciences for an undergraduate student in the UK. If the advert is open and it says open to international student, then yes, it is possible. But I would tell you that nursing is not one of those courses that is freely available. even with your funding, with your money, it's not, because I mean, it's one of those courses that people are willing to study. Home students are willing to study. They have bursaries for nursing students, and so they already have enough incentives to take up nursing. So for you, that you're coming as an outside person and also now requiring scholarship, it would be a tough one to crack. It's not impossible. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it will be you will have to, pack a punch in terms of your application and the rest. But if you find the scholarship advert, then yes, it means you can go for it. Good day, Dr. Fola. I'd like to ask a question. I'm trying to target Canada for my MSc in oncology. Because of that funding, I have sent over 50 personalized cold emails and finally got no positive responses. Is Canada fully funded route way tougher than other route, or is there any way I can shorten number of rejection? I'm really so sorry that you've had that many rejection, but like we say on here, scholarship is one tough battle that you would have to sort of like storm through. When it comes to sending cold emails, obviously, I don't know what kind of cold email you have sent. So that would be something to consider. Maybe have someone review. I've reviewed someone people's cold email before, and so maybe have someone review the cold email before you send it out, because you might be missing out some things. Or also, everyone on this platform, I keep saying it, share information that can be useful for you. And I've shared about cold email. I'm sure Victor, Dr. Olu, and everybody else have shared informations about cold email. Maybe try and pick out different valuable things from there to add to your cold email that you've written. And also, I think you should also try and track funding in addition to the cold email. So for example, you send a very nice cold email to me, I like it, but I don't have funding, I might not do anything about it. So also try and see university lecturers and professors that have funding. You will most likely, if you go to their profile on their university website, you'll most likely see, maybe for example, recent grant, £200,000, blah blah blah. And then maybe that can also help in targeting who you cold email to an extent. Michael has a hand up, and then Dr. Olu. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to add that it might be frustrating that you are sending so many emails and you are getting rejected after sending this email. Like Dr. Fola has said, you want to review your code email as well as check. It's not enough information for us to hear that you are sending code emails. We don't have information about the quality. We don't have information about your transcript, your GPA, all those components that you need to send when you are contacting a professor for the first time, for instance. So, assuming all is well and good, all I can do to encourage you is to say that you should keep trying. In my own case, I sent over 300, so you might want to use that as a benchmark. So maybe when you have reached 300, then you can feel frustrated again. But just take it as there are people that I know that send just one or two and it worked. So the story is different. Don't feel down because you sent 50 and nothing. I did 300. I got so frustrated at some point that I started applying to anything. If I see Dr. Fola's field, you will see me there. If I see Victor's field, if it's architecture, I will find the story to come out. Trust me, nobody replied me. The one that I was even close to getting, the man wrote me and told me that, oh, sorry, I'm looking for someone with, I think that was a zoology opportunity, and I didn't do it. I just saw it, I applied. I didn't care at that point. I was so down at that point. So maybe that was after 70 or 80. So I was just looking for any opportunity. You'd be like, just let me hear that this is your field, you're in trouble. I looked for the opportunity and I started applying, but nothing worked. It made sense that it did not work because I really did not have anything substantial to share. So the man told me that he was looking for someone with a zoology experience, even though the opportunity had maybe 20% plant science and 80% zoology. So I thought I could sell him on the 20%, but it didn't work too. So don't feel bad. Just keep looking for the right fit in terms of your specialty and all that. And no one email is perfect. You can continue to improve it, but the fact that you have done 50 and no response at all, amidst the 300 that I shared, I got a lot of good responses. So I'm just focusing on the one that mattered. When did I get the one that mattered? It was after like 300. So that's what you want to, put before you. Just hang in there. It's going to be fine.
Thank you. Yeah, very useful there. Dr. Olu?
Yeah, thank you very much, Michael, for that very honest, sincere input. So, and that's it kind of leads into the point that I want to make. And I want to make it as quickly as possible. Number one, I think it is very important for postgrad students to understand now that the terrain is becoming more and more competitive. The basics that is being shared on a platform like Twitter does not necessarily imply that you stop there. You need to add more effort. If you're sending email to professors, just in my own little corner, I get more than 100 emails in a day. And trust me, if the subject headline of your email is not something that will catch my attention, it will probably just be sitting nicely there. At the very least, even in my DM, I get some messages in my DM, and I ask myself, what exactly do you want me to do? Because I cannot understand the content of the messages. So when you send these cold emails, you make sure that consider it as the one and only opportunity to make an impression, and you do it the way it should be done. Number two, I want to say this without any reservation. This is money that you do not have any claim to. It is not your money we are talking about here. It is the money that is being given for a project to be executed. There is no way you can claim any sense of entitlement here. You are also as good as others that will be exploring this opportunity. So you want to put your best foot forward. Again, I like using myself as an example. The kind of scholarship opportunity that I got in 2008, I promise you, the platform or the arena is much more competitive now. If I have to do what I did in 2008 to get that scholarship now, I promise you I do not have any chance. So you need to understand that these opportunities require some extreme, perfect, almost flawless effort from you. And in doing so, you give an impression that you are serious about it, that you are really interested in it, that you want to project your career, to the best of your ability. My last point here is that, look, and I'm glad, Blessing mentioned this. I always tell postgrad students, when I do my weekly Twitter space, when I was doing my master's, I read more than 200 articles. But at the end of the day, how many did I reference in my thesis? And I'm not even going to go into the number of articles that I read for my PhD. You even read some articles 3-4 times before you get an understanding of what the author is saying. So the point I'm trying to make here is that you don't give up when you are reaching out. It's an opportunity that you want to take, that you want to explore. They are not giving that scholarship to say, hey, we are waiting for you to come and apply. No. People from Asia are applying. People from Europe are applying. People from Africa are applying. The last I know, the population of Nigeria is over 200 million. So if, for instance, maybe 0.5% of postgrad students, prospective postgrad students are applying from Nigeria alone, imagine the number. So please don't do the PRS anymore. That's just the only message I want to say. Thank you, and I yield the mic.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Olu. Really appreciate that take on things. Ada, thank you.
Hi, Dr. Fola. Sorry, my network's been fluctuating. I was just going to quickly add, in relation to sending emails to institutions, my 2 cents. Please, I know as much as it's tempting,
please do not send a bulk or chain email to like, all the institutions, copy them all into it and stuff. Please do not do that. I had a relative who was trying to make inquiries with like different universities in the UK and Canada. And basically this guy, that's all he was doing chain emails, and he forgot that in his original email that he constructed, he put in one of the university's name inside the body of the email. So all the emails that he was sending to other institutions, and then when you read down into the email, it has a different institution name. Like, that is so sloppy. For somebody that wants to go and do that is so sloppy. And I was just shocked. And he's the kind of person, like, if you try and say something to him, he will, he feels like you're trying to tell him what to do. And I was just like this with my mouth wide open, like I was in shock. So as much as you're tempted to send like a bulk email, do copy, CC everybody into it, please don't do that. Just try to, try and tailor it to every single, I know it's very tedious, but please tailor it. Make them feel good. Make the university feel good about themselves, Make them feel like they're the only one you're looking at. You're not even looking at any other one. Not just send it to, like, for example, De Montfort University, and then down in the body of the email, you're talking about Lancaster University. Oh, I would like to come to Lancaster because, you just sent it to De Montfort. Like, nah, that's sloppy. So if you don't get response from them, you know why. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say, please. That's what I wanted to say. And Dr. Fela, I was going to say, I'm getting so many DMs that I think we're going to have to do part 3 of this at some point. Like,
I honestly, Ada, I agree, because I can't even go through half of what I have. And so, yes, although we've been here for like 5 hours and also, about 5 hours or so, I think we would have to wrap it up. I cannot thank everyone that has taken their time to even, share in their wealth of knowledge to help ourselves. It's just beyond incredible, and so we cannot ask for too. We've already asked for a lot. We can't ask for all-nighter on this, because even if we do, we're not going to finish the whole conversation, as the case may be. So thank you so very much. I don't know, my speakers, would you like to say one or two things just to, encourage or to for our listeners, especially those prospective applicants and scholarship enthusiasts, to carry on for till next week or the next time we organize such space? Okay, Dr. Salifu, you've got your hand up first. So would you like to go and then?
Yeah, so all that I would tell the applicant is that they should never give up. The fact that you've applied and you've been rejected doesn't mean that you are not good enough, because scholarship opportunities are very few. And sometimes you really do get good people, but the reality is that you can only offer very few for people. So they should continue. And as we are doing, they should, follow a lot of us on Twitter and whatever. I see Fola posting a lot of opportunities. Tio have been posting a lot of opportunities, both on Twitter and Facebook, and I think LinkedIn. So do follow. Learn the tricks, the tactics, and improve upon it. With time, your day will come. I just believe that everybody has a season. And when your season comes, nothing will prevent you. I wish you all the best.
Well said, Dr. Yakubu. Thank you so much. In case okay, anyway, when I was doing in fact, even before my master's, when I was, or let alone, or during my PhD as well, I didn't have access to all these doctor that you have access to here. So please to take the opportunity, follow them, ask questions. Very useful question, of course, specific, important question, not just doctor, I need funding. Ask questions that would make them even want to help you, make them want to go out of their way to say, oh, I think I know one colleague or that colleague, I will recommend this person to that team. So please do take advantage of this space, follow them and ask useful questions. I think it was Victor next, and then Dr. Olu. Or is it other? I'm sorry, people. Yeah, just thank you.
That's fine. I think you just took the words out of my mouth. Before you send a cry for help or reach out for any assistance, I think just start by Googling your question in the first place. Because I get lots of DMs, and even some of the questions we got today, they are questions that are easily answerable by just a simple Google search. Or even here on Twitter, for instance, you're looking for HND scholarships for masters. Just go on Twitter and type HND for masters in US or in UK, and you see several suggestions already. So I see people regurgitating these very simple, easy to answer questions, and that is why personally I ignore majority of the DMs I get. So if you need help, I think we have to meet midway. So you do your research, and those things that you still need clarification for, I think there'll be lots of people to answer your question if they find out that you've done your background research already. Yeah, that's my last word. Thank you.
Well said. Well said. Thank you. I think it's Dr. Olu next. If I've mixed it up, just forgive me.
It looks like we are having a consensus on our final take, because Victor just took everything out of my mouth. There was a question about on, I think, academic Twitter that was being asked to say, okay, if you have three supervisors, what do you do? Then I shared my personal experience, and I didn't trade on that. I had three supervisors when I was starting my master's, in 2008, and it was chaos. And what did I do? I had to send an email to the three of them to ask for a meeting. And there's something I want to bring out from here. Now, when the meeting was agreed upon and scheduled, guess what I did? I made a presentation, show them all the things that I have done, show them all the things that I have not been able to do, challenges. So, what does that mean? I'm simply passing a subtle message to them to say, I am not coming empty-handed. One of the last things I hate, and I say it boldly, is when you come to me empty-handed, like I have to, I don't be Jesus. I need to see what you have done, the attempt you have made. Even if that attempt is a complete rubbish, I still need to see it. Because I cannot start with you from the scratch. My 24 hours is bookmark every hour, including the hour to sleep. So if I'm sparing that, do something for you, I need to see the effort. So my encouragement to us many, and I shared Victor's sentiment. The reason why I ignore some of the DM is you're sending me a DM as if you are in the chat, the WhatsApp chat. Hi, what do you want me to do? To respond to say hello. I will just allow your message to be sitting nicely in my DM without any problem. It's occupying space, fine, but it's not disrupting anything. So please make efforts. It is in your effort that someone can help you to say, okay, this is what you're doing wrong, this is what you're doing right, this is what you need to improve upon. And that makes it easier. Like Victor said, I mean, you look at Twitter, ordinary search, if you go to the search bar on Twitter and you type in something very specific, chances are that you will get so many pop-up messages. And that's where you start from, to show that, okay, I've done this, this is what I understand, this is what I understand. My last tweet that I sent out on the difference between research methodology and research method was because a student reached out to me to say, I'm confused. There are so many arguments around research methodology and research method. I said, okay, what have you read? He sent me 2 articles. I said, you have read only 2 articles and you're telling me you are confused, that there are so many discrepancies. I said, okay, no problem. I gave you the textbook. Okay, go and read and come back and tell me what you understand. So the point is, make an effort. And from your efforts, someone can help you to say, okay, this is what you should be doing. This is the direction you should go. Thank you very much. And I
Thank you, Dr. Olu. Yep, well said there. I believe it's Ada. I'm just going random now. Forgive me, people.
It's okay, Dr. Fola. It's okay. So, I was just gonna say thank you so much, Dr. Fola, for hosting this space. Thank you to all the speakers. You guys are amazing. I was gonna echo what Victor said. The Google is your best friend. Don't just use Google if you want to find out why you have a headache. Use Google to your advantage. It's the most wealthiest bank of information out there. It will point you to places you've never seen. Like the doctor was saying, there are some questions I'm getting in my DMs. I'm like, you can literally just Google this and get your answer. So just please Google. And also, do not be put off if you had like a 2-2 or a third class or a pass or whatever it is. Do not be put off. If you want to make that application, make the application with your full chest. Speak to the university. Get your statement of your personal statement. I call it personal statement. Get your personal statement top notch. Get it top notch. Get somebody to look at it. Get a friend to look at it. And then wake up, look at it again. Literally look at it like 5 times, and on 5 different days. You will find different spelling mistakes. So do all these things. Do not get put off. Don't be put off as well if you don't have funding. There are scholarships out there. It's human beings that are getting the scholarships. It's difficult to get, but it's not impossible to get. So please, 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 there are different ways that you can fund your studies and come out and better yourselves, increase your earning power. Obviously, I've got a legal background. If you've got any questions in relation to legalness in UK, because obviously I'm in the UK, then feel free to DM me. I can give you my opinion. I cannot give you advice, okay? So if you want a legal advice, please go to a lawyer and pay for legal advice. I can only give you my legal opinion if you have any legal questions. Good luck to everyone. It's been amazing being on this space, guys. Absolutely amazing. Dr. Fola, next time you're hosting, please tag me. I swear to God, tag me. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to all the doctors.
Thank you so much, Ada. We appreciate your time, your contribution. It's just been amazing. And yes, I actually met Ada on her space. It was a few days ago, I think. Or was it yesterday? This thing is 2 days ago. I think it was.
Day before yesterday.
Yeah,
Friday.
it was 2 days ago. Yeah, and it was a very valuable, session. And I'm so thankful that you managed to contribute as well on this one. And definitely, would like to do more in this space, as the case may be. I think it's Michael. Yeah, let's go with Michael.
Okay, so the parting message. Number one, I think the experience is similar with everybody in terms of the kind of messages you get in your inbox, and that was why I locked my inbox. Thanks to Jamatikulos Olajide that introduced me to the usefulness of that. I mean, you get messages that look like, hi, hello, and then, okay, so what should I do with that information? Or, sorry, I saw a scholarship that you posted. Can I apply? Like you're asking me, can you apply? Funny enough, to most of these kinds of messages, maybe because of my softness or my soft personality, I still answer even the most ridiculous messages, but I got to the point where I could not take it again. Like it was just simple. So please try to help people. Like it's not easy. That's that about that. Then the second thing I want to say is please try to work on how much refined you can get. I say this because you would have to communicate with people via emails, to professors from across the globe. And you would need to communicate your strength. You will need to show good command of grammar and all of these things. When you are not used to being refined, when you are so used to blogs alone, writing in abbreviations, you're just used to this, in quotes, pardon me to say, gutter behavior. And that's how much life you know. But you join spaces like this because you are truly interested. For real, you are. But there is a conflict of interest. And you take this personality you take that approach, how your perspective, the lens through which you see life, you take it towards approaching academic environment. Truth be told, as many people are here, no matter how refined we sound, there are spaces that we get when you will meet us like very local, like very, very local in terms of how local can get. But you know when you need to pull out your refineness. You know when to approach life differently. In fact, for the most part, you approach life like a king, like someone who is discerning, someone who is pursuing wisdom, someone who is choosing words and choosing perspective and choosing what they see online seriously. So you want to work on, the main point there is please work on keeping yourself refined. Then lastly, I want you to understand that, like Dr. Olu said, scholarship money is taxpayers' money. It's not your money. It's not your father's money. It's not my father's money. And so if you were to be put in that situation, you want to go for the best candidate, even though some biases can play to your advantage, such as diversity argument, equity argument, and ordinary biases, maybe because you are into sports, you are cooking and all that. I've shared before on a space that I hosted with Olajide, where a director on my committee said one of the things that also drew him to me as the candidate, apart from my good performance, was the fact that I play football well, and he was really advocating for me because he's a senior director, like one of the top. And he was really advocating that they should go for me too, because he will have somebody he can be going for, to the pitch with. He told me this like 5-6 months after I joined, and I joined the football team and I started playing football regularly with them. He just told me while we were in his car one day. But that was something that also drew into my application. So some of these things you can't say, but bias is not something that you can control. So you want to work on what you can control, and that's the quality of your application. Please understand that things are getting really, really tough. Like even positions are getting really, really, really difficult to come by. But as much as that is the case, every day you will see scholarship opportunities. Every day you see. So as much as we can complain that no opportunities, the same goes for the fact that opportunities open up every day. So always try to put your best foot forward. Don't get discouraged. If you must go 100 emails, 200 emails. I was speaking with a friend recently, although not academic, in business, because I think his startup just got like serious European funding. And he said, Michael, a lot of people see me and they think that, life is just easy for me. And recently he had some little challenges and all of those things, and I had to support him and all that. But when he told me that before this major European funding his company got, he has sent over 3,000 emails to be looking for funding opportunities, accelerator programs. He said he sent 3,000. I could not believe my eyes because I've known him from university days. Like, it's unbelievable. So know that success on the outside, it's not what you see behind. It's not what happens. I told you I sent 300 emails. Was it because I was not good enough? Heck, I graduated with the first class. No, I had friends 2122 that got it even before me. To make it more painful, I have assisted friends who were applying to Commonwealth Scholarship, reviewed their essays, they've written it, and then we sat together. I restructured and helped them explain. I asked questions. Okay, I need this experience from your life. Let's have it here. 2 people got into the same Commonwealth program. They were classmates. I had assisted them. I applied. I did not get it. So you said, did they swear for me from my village? Well, like Dr. Yakubu said, was it Dr. Yakubu or Dr. Phil? When your time has come, it will come. But let it meet you prepared. Thank you.
Okay. That's lovely rounding up. Silas and then Dr. Teo.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Fuller, for this wonderful space. I would just say potential grad students should be intentional and strategic. That sums it up. Thank you very much.
Okay, very nice and succinct. Thank you, Dr. Teo. Dr. Teo, we can hear you.
Hi, hello.
Yes, we can hear you now. Yes, please go on.
Yeah, from the submissions from other speakers, clearly there is an issue about how people, contact colleagues in their inbox and so on and so forth. For me, when I see certain, messages in my inbox, the context of the message itself communicates to me how serious, excuse my language, but, the level of preparation that someone might have done prior to that contact. And that actually tells me whether, I'm going to, any effort I make in supporting the person is going to be a waste of time, or it's really going to yield or is going to be taken seriously. Because I mean, we are all super busy people, and every minute that we invest into someone, we expect that they take it seriously. And so sending messages in shorthands and all that, sometimes even people get in touch via emails and they write shorthands and all that. Because the thing is, you are not my friend in the first place. So, I don't expect that level of communication, communication at that level. So, try as much as possible, at least in your first few contacts, to be a bit more formal. And, this scholarship or funding journey, what I would say to potential applicants is that it takes a lot of hard work and resilience really to be successful. Because you cannot, some people are lucky, they just apply in the first time or second time and they just get it. Some of us, we have to really, really apply a number of times and to so many people and openings before we are, successful. Not because we are not good, not because we don't have the credentials, but it just depends on which school you are applying to, the year, and the timing, really. So keep working hard, keep preparing. Google is your friend. Do your background search and checks and all that before you go in. And don't forget that it's not just your academic credentials that will do the trick for you. There are other things that are also looked at. I was on the panel that looked at Commonwealth applications that came in recently, and of course, it's just so interesting the applications that came in and what people were thinking. You read certain things and you clearly see that this person is just really, putting all hopes in their academic credentials. No, it doesn't work that way. We look at other aspects, your volunteering, your other things that you really do, would really do the trick. So develop yourself. You are the developmental stages of your life and your career, and invest time into making yourself that person that you yourself will be happy to support if you are giving the nod to. So thank you and all the best.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Teo. Very useful. I think all of every speaker have said here, in terms of answering your question, in terms of words of motivation, and the rest of that, is just, it's really for you to help you. I'm just going to say, Dr. Olu, every Friday, hold a space for those that are interested in PJR conversation. So please join the family, like he always calls it, family meeting. Do try and join the family meeting and follow Dr. Olu. Victor is very active on Twitter, of course, and also on YouTube. So do follow his YouTube and also follow Twitter. And oh yeah, Dr. Olu does do his research as well on Twitter. So do follow them. Michael does the same. Follow Michael for information. The reason why I'm saying follow them is because so that some of the things that you may want to go and ask them, they already have addressed it. So you could just take your information from there rather than. So please do follow them. And if you have further questions, you can then ask Silas, Dr. Teo. Although Dr. Teo, I know Dr. Teo is working with the big boys. He's reviewing Commonwealth scholarship. And same with Dr. Salifu. So they have vast knowledge in terms of how you can structure things and help yourself. But like they said, you do the legwork, and then they just put the icing on the cake to an extent, just help you do some finishing touches. Everyone here are in full-time employment or studies or research and the rest of that. So we're only just using spare times that we could have used to watch Netflix and chill to answer some of these questions. So please do make it valuable in terms of those questions that you ask. Do follow me. I don't know what I do on Twitter. I do some things, and same on YouTube. I don't know what I do, but I do some things. So if there's any valuable thing you can get from me. Ada, I have met Ada a few days now, and I'm so appreciative of her. She has wealth of knowledge. It's beyond amazing. So do take advantage of that as well and ask questions, follow them, make use of these resources. For those that started this space with us earlier, you remember the Ghanaian. Oh yeah, that's true. Prince was here. Oh, and what's his name? Aaron has left. So Prince was here and he was asking for, this is for Dr. Tio and Dr. Salifu. He's always asking, not just today, but he always asks for Ghanaian scholars. He's like you guys. So I would have loved that you guys met because he's very pro Ghanaian, right? And yeah.
I see. I see.
I mean, I told him, I said the Ghanaians are also on these different platforms. They are helping Ghanaians, but he just keeps saying, all I see is Nigerians helping. And I would have loved to show you guys off to him. But
no, it's just because Ghanaian Jollof, Ghanaian Jollof is a bit, kind of shy and all that, but
maybe one day we have to do Ghana Nigeria PhD Jollof.
we are literally rounding up Dr. Tio. Hi, Jollof. In this conversation, this is going to be like what was. Is it 3 or 4 now? We're going to start. Hi, Jollof. In this, please, Dr. Tio, let's
just to say, I personally have followed all the speakers on here, so you are missing out a lot if you are not following them. They share, good information, good insights, and well, I'm a lecturer, but I'm still learning from them. So I don't see why you should not be following these people. Amazing people, brilliant people, with free time. I mean, knowledgeable people and very generous. They are sharing their time and knowledge to each and every one. So brilliant. You are missing out if you are not following these guys.
Thank you, Dr. Tio. Thank you, everybody. We are going to end it now on that note of jollof rice, Ghana and Nigeria jollof. We are just we're just going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for your time, people. I cannot thank you enough. And like Ada said, we are going to be having this pretty soon as well. So do keep that motivation going for your grad school, and even if it's undergraduates, keep it going. We are here, we start from somewhere, and we hope you would also be here and even surpass us. This is why we're sharing this information, so please keep that light shining. Thank you all. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
See you.
Yeah, bye. Okay. Yeah, I've just finished the Twitter space. Now, can I just speak with the, no, not speak with, speak on the question? I've answered it via typing, via the chat, sorry. But just to answer it via verbal response, is that this person says, good evening, based on the recommendation letter, is it compulsory? It should be on a letter-headed paper. So for those that are going to listen to this recording later, I would suggest it should be, if you can have it on there, that would be good, because it would tell the university that it's not coming just from you, it's coming from the appropriate person. However, if the person is not able to get letter-headed paper for whatever reason, it would be maybe because some university will send link rather than send for you to send a PDF letter. They will send the link to the person. So if it's going to be that link one, then it would be good if they can use their university email as an evidence that they are, within the university setting as they say they are. But if you can, that would be more believable. If it's not possible, still there's no email, there's no letter headed, then they should write the letter, have it in PDF format. So they have it in PDF format, you attach it, but they should have their name, their job title, the university, their email, their phone number, official email and phone number, of course, and all of that added to that email, sorry, that attachment as an evidence that they are who they say they are. So the university may decide to try and maybe reach them through other means if they need to as well. This other the follow-up question: what if the lecturer, that means the recommender, is no longer in the university? And I did say that would be that's no problem to an extent, although it would be good if they haven't, if they, it's not like they left the university for so long, several years, 5 years or something. Then it would be nice if you have someone that is more recent, that has just recently worked with you. But if not, they can reference you if it's not been too long in terms of how long they left the university. I hope that answers the question. Thank you. So early years matters. Oh my goodness. I just appreciate you for always being so supportive or catching up on all these things. And thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Babatunde and Alicia and everybody else that have been here. I appreciate it. I hope you found some use. Thanks for your time here. Really, really thankful to you guys. So do have a good Sunday evening. Oh, it's going to be work tomorrow. You have a good Sunday evening, people. Wish you the very best in terms of happy new week, or how do I put it? Best of weeks. Yeah, productive week ahead. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Elias Matters. Appreciate. Bye everyone. Thank you.